Hello, everybody. My name is Cliff Horn. I am a public information officer here at TRSL, and we want to thank you for coming out to one of our first workshops of the new year, the new school year. And this is our new to TRSL and our mid-career workshop. A couple of friendly reminders about what we're going to be doing today. All of you will be muted, so you don't have to worry about any interruptions for anything. We do have a question and answer box. So if you have a question about something that we're presenting today, please type it into the question and answer the Q&A box and not the chat box. We're going to leave the chat box open for my coworker, Jerry. Jerry's going to be in the background answering some of your Q&A questions there, but she will also be putting in some links to some things that we'll be talking about here today. We are recording today's workshop and it will be made available for you to watch at a later date. We've also added the slides for the PDF format of the slides will be available on our website later today. You can also check out the recording of this on our YouTube channel if you go to YouTube and search at TRSL Online, you'll be able to rewatch this video. Also, to let you know one last thing, if you have a question that is a little more complicated, something about your numbers, specifically your retirement date or something like that, unfortunately, for the number of people we have and the amount of time, we won't be able to look you up into the system for today's workshop. But we simply ask that you go to trsl.org. There you can type in your question and send it over to us, and our webmasters will be happy to answer those for you later today. So let's talk about what we're going to cover. We're going to talk about the TRSL retirement plans. We'll talk a little bit about the math, how we calculate them, when are you eligible to retire. We'll also talk about maybe moving some time over from other agencies or other states. We'll talk about your leave credit, that's sick and annual. And then we'll talk about the types of retirement offered to you, regular, drop, and ILSB, and a few others. We'll talk about survivor benefits, community property, and wrap up with our member access overview. And then if we have time for today, we will be opening up for some Q&A questions that Jerry may have for me. So let's talk about what TRSL is. We started in 1936. We're one of the oldest and largest retirement systems here in Louisiana. We are a defined benefit plan. Defined benefit is a pension plan, meaning it is a math formula. Once we calculate it, it is a lifetime benefit of that amount every month for the rest of your life. And this is really my favorite part of every PowerPoint presentation we do, is this last one where it says benefits guaranteed by the Constitution. And what that means is all the funds that we have can only be used for TRSL. There's no extra bridges or an addition to a football stadium that can be done with our funds. They can only be used to pay out your retirement benefits. Now, the two plans that we have are our regular plan. That's probably 99% of you here today. That's most of our admin, teachers, support staff for universities, community colleges, and technical schools. The other program we have is called Plan B. That is for 20 parishes here in Louisiana, have some of their food service workers are in Plan B. That is a plan that contributes to TRSL as well as Social Security. Now, how do we fund this benefit? So it's a lifetime benefit for you. So where does the money come from? Part of it is from you. As a member, you pay a percentage towards the retirement benefit. As a regular plan member, that is 8% of every paycheck. You will notice there is a deduction that goes to TRSL. For those 20 parishes, for the Plan B members, they also contribute to Social Security. They only contribute 5%. Now, where you contribute 8 and 5, the school system also contributes anywhere from around 20% towards the contributions. All of those funds are pooled together and then invested in a portfolio. It is the return on those investments that pay out your retirement benefits. How do we calculate the benefit? We make the math very simple. It is how much service credit you have, the time that you've been paying into TRSL, times the FAC, final average compensation. That is a fancy way of saying what is your average salary. Those two things are then multiplied by a benefit factor. That is a number set by the state. It is either 2 or 2.5%, depending on when you came into the system. Those three things multiplied together give us the maximum TRSL benefit. Let's break them down into a little bit for you. Service credit. That is the amount of time that you've worked in TRSL or in the school system and contributed that 8 or 5% to TRSL. Our service credit year is from July 1st until June 30th. That 12-month period equals for 1 year of service credit. What we ask your employer is we say, well, what did Miss Sue, what was she contracted to make for working in that time frame from July 1st until June 30th? Well, Miss Sue was scheduled to make, and let's just make math simple, $100 for that time period. Great. She's scheduled to make 100, and then at the end of that time frame, the TRSL system asked the school, well, what did she earn? She was here the whole time. She earned $100. So when we divide 100 by 100, we get one year of service credit. But some of you, like myself, maybe didn't start at the beginning of the school year and only earned partial. So Miss Sue started in December. Well, she started in December. That means she earns $56 of a contract that says 100 for a full year. So when we divide the 56 by 100, we're going to get 0.56 of a year of service credit. So that's how we get partial. Now, some of you are also looking at your accounts and saying, well, wait, mine has like a 0.99 or a 97 for a year worked. What is that? Well, that is the computer doing some rounding. Just know that it's okay. We round to the 10th place when it comes to your service credit. So for your eligibility, if you have 24.95 years of service, that's going to round up to 25 years of service. If you have 24.94, I'm sorry, you're going to have to come back to work probably for about 2 or 3 more weeks in order to get that extra part of that service credit to round up to the 25-year mark. Your average compensation, it's a monthly average. Depending on when you came into the system, it is either going to be 3 or 5 years. For those of you who started working for TRSL prior to January 1st, 2011, it is based on your 3 highest consecutive years, wherever that is. In most cases, it's probably going to be your last 3 years of employment because your salary has been going up. But some of us may have a different path. We may have been a teacher, then moved to an assistant principal position, and then back down to a teacher. For salary purposes, where's that highest salary going to be? Right, it's going to be where the assistant principal job was. Which means we would use those 3 years in their career. Now, it has to be consecutive years. We don't get to cherry pick the 3 highest. It's the 3 highest consecutive. For those of you who started, like me, after January 1st, 2011, it is based on your 5 highest consecutive years. So the average is a little bit different. Now, you'll notice there's some text on this screen that talks about a salary cap. And what that says is from 1 year to the next, if there's an increase for the first group greater than 10%, we, the system, can only acknowledge up to the 10% increase. And for the second group, it's from 1 year to the next, a 15% increase. So if you are in the first group and you have a salary increase, you get a 12% increase because you moved from teaching to the principal. You got a 12% increase. You get that 12% for your salary, but we can only acknowledge up to 10% for that year because of the salary cap. Now, when any time the state makes rules like this, they also make exceptions to those rules. The salary cap does not include any increases given by legislative acts, state increases or stipends, any city, parish, or college university system-wide increases, so everyone got a pay raise for some reason. Those all would be exempt. The school systems themselves will send us notices on which one of those is affected for the entire system, not just a pay increase for you. There's also one other one that is a limit, a 25% limit on salary increases for people who go 12 months in a classroom. In other words, if you're moving from one parish to another, we cannot use that increase until you've moved from one parish to the other until 12 months. The benefit factors, those numbers are either going to be, remember, they're set by the state. They're either going to be 2 or 2.5%, depending on when you came into the system. Plan B members, you're 2% across the board, no matter when. Anybody in our regular plan, that's most of us, who came in prior to July 1st, 1999, it's either 2 or 2.5%. For those of you that came in after July 1st, 1999, it's 2.5 across the board. Now, we need to look at the eligibilities. Some of you are like, I'm ready to retire today, but the question is, are you eligible to retire today? Well, we have to again look at when you joined the system. For those of you who came in prior to July 1st, 1999, you have 5 ways to leave the system or retire. Age 60 with at least 5 years, any age with 20 years of service, both of those will make you eligible to retire, but it will be at the 2% factor when we do the calculation. For those of you who go a little bit longer, we're looking at age 65 with 20 years of service, age 55 with 25 years of service, or any age with 30 years of service. All of those are eligibilities to retire at the 2.5% mark. With these eligibilities to retire, you do not have to retire on the date you hit those, but we need to make sure you are eligible by checking both of the boxes of your age being old enough and the proper amount of service credit you have in the system. Checking both of those boxes then makes you eligible. You can wait and go longer if you want to reach the next eligibility if you want. It still makes you eligible to retire. Now, they made changes to the system for July 1st, 99 till December 31st, 2010. Instead of 5 ways to leave the system, now there's only 4 ways to leave the system. That's age 60 with 5 years of service, age 55 with 25, any age with 20 years actuarially reduced, or any age with at least 30 years of service credit. Quick question, Jerry, did we share the screen?
We did share the screen.
Okay, do we share the right screen?
We did share the
Okay,
right screen.
I just want to make sure. Normally I have a different view on my screen.
Sorry.
And I just realized it's one of those things. Just threw me off. Sorry, guys. This was the second group. Now, you'll notice on the any age with 20 years of service credit, it is actuarially reduced. This is the early retirement eligibility. You are eligible. We do the normal math formula, but we have to do a reduction based on the number of years you are away from regular retirement age eligibility. That would be age 60. So if you are 55 with 20 years and you retire, you can, but then there's a reduction based on you being 5 years away from age 60. And again, the legislative body made changes to the system again for those members between January 1st, 2011 and 6/30/2015. They've now eliminated it down to 2 eligibilities to retire. That is age 60 with 5 years or early retirement, any age with at least 20 years of service, actuarially reduced on age 60. Again, it's at 2.5%. And then the last group, anyone who's joined us on or after July 1st, 2015 is age 60 with 5 years, or sorry, age 62 with 5 years, or any age with 20 years of service, actuarially reduced based on age of 62. So you always want to think about when, it's not when did I retire, it's when did I start working for the system. Some of us, this may not be our first foray into teaching or working into the school systems. You may have worked in another state. You may have worked in a private school here in Louisiana, or you worked in the teacher system and left, and now you've come back. Sometimes we feel like that's starting over, and that's not quite the case, because we can look at moving or purchasing or transferring service credit from the other agencies to us. So if we've ever had public school work in other states, private schools here in Louisiana, or charter schools here in Louisiana, or we've done work in another state agency here in Louisiana, so you've worked for lasers, or if you have military service that is not receiving a retirement benefit, we may be able to move all of those over to us to get you retirement ready or retirement eligible faster. To do that, there is some forms to fill out and a purchase that has to happen, because we have to move monetary funds from whatever you were at to us. If you've already taken a refund of those schools funds and you have them, that means you would have to make the purchase in order to move it over. Now, you have to submit a form with a non-refundable calculation fee. And then once that's sent to us, our actuarial accountant, it's an outside accountant, will process it, figure out, well, how many years did you have in Mississippi and what is that worth? And then they will send you a notice to show you if you want to buy those 4 years in Mississippi to move over to us, here's what it would cost in order to make those over. Once you make that purchase, in other words, send us a check for payment, it automatically adds those years into your system, making you eligible to retire at a better, faster. Now, the catch with this is that it is the cost of the funds that are in the system plus the interest it could have earned had it been with us since you started with us. On average, it's about 7.5% per year is the interest that is accumulated. So it is better to make those purchases or move those funds over to us sooner rather than closer to the end of your retirement, because it will be at a bigger expense. The fee or the form itself, sorry, it's not 7.5, it's 7.25 in there. So you always have to look at putting those funds into the system. Eligible purchases, you ready? I took a leave of absence here when I was working for TRSL, or an unpaid leave or a sabbatical leave. I was a substitute teaching and I want to move that time, again, substitute teaching here in Louisiana, and I want to move that over to us. Local states, out-of-state public employment, private schools here in Louisiana, charter schools, military service, or even U.S. dependent teaching service. You were teaching on a military base in Guam. We can move that time over to us as well. So you can make those purchases or make that fee purchase to get that calculation done. What else can we add to your retirement? Your sick leave. We've all heard that phrase, I either use it or lose it. And that's not quite the case when it comes to our sick leave. Now, sick leave cannot be added to our service credit to reach the eligibility to retire, but it can be used as an addition once we reach our eligibility. The first thing that's going to happen with your sick leave is your school is going to pay you for up to 25 days of any unused sick leave you have at your current day rate of pay. Please don't go to them and say, Cliff says you owe me 25 days of sick leave. If you only have 3 days on the books, they're only going to pay you for those 3 days. Anything after that, or up to the 25, they will pay for. And then anything, if you have more time than the 25, the rest are sent to us. And we will look at converting it into additional service credit to add towards your retirement benefit. We can convert up to 1 year of service credit at no, or 1 year of service or sick leave to service credit at no cost. As a 9-month employee, 180 days of sick leave converts to 1 year. Some of you are saying, well, Cliff, I don't have 180 days. That's fine. Anything that you have of leftover sick leave can be converted. If you have 11 days of sick leave as a 9-month employee, that converts to 1/10 of a year of service credit. And now you're immediately asking, well, what does that mean monetarily? 1/10 of a year is somewhere between $10 and $20 extra every month for the rest of your life. So it's an addition to add to your monthly benefit. For those of you who are 12-month employees who get annual leave, vacation days, those vacation days, the school system will pay you for up to 300 hours of your annual leave. Anything over that 300 hours can be converted into service credit, but it is at a cost. And you'll need to speak to your employer about that to move those extra time to us so we can incorporate that cost. The types of retirement that we have here at TRSL, there are 5. The first one is service. That's the one we've been talking about this whole time. You stop working and begin receiving your lifetime benefit every month for the rest of your life. The next 2 are called nest egg retirements. That is DROP and ILSB. DROP is a very popular program, so much so that we have its own hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes workshop on itself called Drop 411. If you want, you can go over to our YouTube channel and check it out. DROP says I'm eligible to retire, but I want to get a lump sum benefit. So I lock in the retirement eligibility. I keep working, and while I'm working, TRSL is taking my retirement check, instead of giving it to me, putting it into a account for me, a savings account. That account will accumulate every month for up to 36 months. At the end of that time, you retire, start collecting your retirement check, and you have access to that lump sum of money based on the retirement benefit you locked in when you were first eligible to go into drop. The other program, ILSB, initial lump sum benefit, says, I don't want to do 36 months. I don't want to do an additional 3 years of employment. I want to retire today and take out a lump sum. I can, but in doing so, it causes a permanent reduction in my monthly benefit based on a formula on how much I pull out of the system. The last two, deferred and disability. Deferred means I have at least 5 years in the system. I have 14 or almost 14. With that, I could terminate my employment today, leave my funds here in TRSL. And then when I reach the appropriate age to retire, age 60 for me and my group, I come back to TRSL, not to come back to work, but to fill out some retirement paperwork based on the 14 years I have in the system at age 60, makes me eligible to receive a lifetime benefit. Excuse me. The last one I have is disability. I'm no longer able to perform my job because of a medical condition. It's the most paperwork you'll fill out for TRSL. You fill some out, your doctor, your supervisor, and your employer all fill out some forms that's all submitted to a state medical disability board, and then they will either approve it, disapprove it, or ask for some more paperwork from your medical provider to get you in. By taking the disability, you have to have at least 5 years in the system. By taking it means you're no longer able to do this job, not just for TRSL, but for anyone, anywhere, not just Louisiana, but in any state as well. You cannot perform that job, teach, like leave us, take the disability, and go teach in Florida. We can't do that. That would void out the disability. Another thing we need to talk about is community property. We are a community property state, which means benefits that you would receive from us, whether that is retirement checks, refunds of your contributions, drop money, ILSB money, even death benefits, may be subject to community property laws. Means that your spouse or former spouse may be entitled to a portion of your benefit. Now, the court system ultimately determines what funds and what kind of payments are considered community property. We do not pay out any funds to any ex-spouse without any proper court documentation, the divorce decree or a prenup that shows that they are entitled to that portion. The other benefits you have, by having at least 5 years in the system, you are vested with TRSL. That means you're eligible for things like deferred benefit, which we mentioned earlier. Disability retirement is 5 years, except for those members hired after January 11th, 2011. It is a 10-year requirement in order to be vested. Survivor benefits means that if you are an active member and something happens and you pass away before you retire, your spouse is going to be given not a refund of your contributions, but a lifetime check based on the calculation of you having at least 5 years in the system. Survivor benefits also go towards minor children. Minor children are up until the age of 18 or 23 if they are a full-time student. If you have a child that is permanently medically disabled by the state listed as a minor or permanent minor, then they would receive a permanent lifetime check regardless of their age. Now, this is a lot of information, and we've really only covered just the highlights of some of this. So let's go over a brief summary while Jerry's gathering up some questions for us. Again, we're a defined benefit, a pension plan that guarantees you a lifetime benefit, not based on contributions like a 401, but based on the calculation of service credit times the salary average times 2 or 2.5%. If you have any time with another agency, another public school in another state, or any of the other ones that we may have mentioned, furloughed or leave or sabbatical, you can move those times or that time back into the system and giving you more service credit, making you eligible to receive an earlier benefit. If you're interested in drop, you need to know your exact date for drop. Now, to find out more about that, again, Drop 411 is a great resource, as well as we also recommend contacting your local HR department to talk to them about your drop start date. When are you first eligible for that? All of our webinars, like this one here today, are available on demand at trsl.org/webinars. Link is in chat. Jerry's pretty quick about dropping those in for us. Do want to mention member access. We are working on a new update for it, just so you know. But member access is a great tool to let you see your retirement benefits and what is happening in the system for you. You can calculate estimates. In other words, I'm ready to retire today, tomorrow, or 3 years from now. We can do those calculations online in less than 30 seconds. You can update things like your name, mailing address, or even your email address. You can even apply for retirement drop or ILSB. While you're in drop, you can look at your account, you can look up your beneficiaries, and you can also look at your annual member statements. Now, the calculator itself is an easy and quick tool to use. Simple step, log into member access. Under the My Estimate drop-down menu, you'll see an estimate for your retirement benefit. Click on it. The big things you need to know. Am I a 9, 10, 11, or 12-month employee? The date I want to retire, and the birthday of your beneficiary. Type in that information. Like I said, less than 30 seconds, you will have those estimates for you. If you have issues with logging into the member access, you can go to support@trsl.org. You can email them your issue that you're having, and the help desk will be able to get back to you to answer any questions you have or help you logging back into your member access. Now, this is our early and mid-career. You guys aren't ready to retire yet, maybe, but things you can do now. You're like, well, I'm 10 years, 20 years away from retirement. That's fine. Things you can do now, making sure we have the proper documentation for you and your beneficiaries. That is copies of birth certificates or social security cards for you and your beneficiaries. You can take a copy or take a picture of them and email them over to our webmaster, making sure we have important documents, birth certificates, death certificates, and things like that. Also doing an estimate. Go ahead and do one on the member access, just so you can see where you are currently and what your plan is for your retirement. All the information we've covered or kind of mentioned is available, and I know Jerry's dropped some brochures and links in the chat. All of those are available on the TRSL website in the brochure section. The forms, every form you could think of that you would need are available in the form section. We also have a newsletter. The webinars themselves are available on there, and we have a great FAQ page that may be answering some of your questions ahead of time. If you have questions, you're like, well, Cliff, I got some very detailed questions I have to ask. You can contact us Monday through Friday from 8 to 4:30. Call 225-925-6446 or 1-877-ASK-TRSL, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. If you have a question that you just want to email over to us, simply go to asktrsl.org, the webpage. You'll type in your contact information at the top, and then there's a big box where you can ask any question that you like. It'll be sent over to our webmasters, who will be able to answer those questions for you. With that, Jerry, I'm going to take a look over at you. We do have a couple of questions.
They're in the chat. Go back to the first ones. I'm sorry, they're in the Q&A.
Okay, Jerry.
Go back to the
I can't see them.
Oh, that's
Jerry's like, they're in the Q&A. You can see them. I can't see them.
You can see
I can't see them. Not yet. You want to?
All right, I'll go ahead and stop the video. Wave goodbye to
All right. I'm going to turn me off just so I can look down at the screen.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. You want me just to read them out to you?
No, I'm just going to do this.
Okay, perfect.
All right, let's take a look at your questions.
I go back to the
All right. let's take a look.
So on slide 9 about the cap increase.
Oh, okay. Um, oh, there we go. Oh, okay. So the someone had a question about the 10% salary increases. Can I get more details? Sure. So, uh, sorry guys. So the cap goes something like this. So if you get a pay raise, like I said earlier, you move from a teacher to an assistant principal. That salary increase, let's say, is 12%. What that means is for that year, when we're doing your calculation for your 3 highest consecutive years, instead of doing a 12% increase for that year, we are only going to mark it as a 10% increase. So on paper, you only received a 10% increase for that year, and that's how we do that calculation. If you want, you can go look at your account. It will show a monthly average compensation. That is not your retirement amount, that is your average salary. But if you have questions about it, you can always go ask your HR department about what salary has been reported to us. Let's see. Oh, this is a great one. I worked in the private industry for 30 years where I contributed to Social Security. Now I teach full time and I'm on the regular plan. Can you explain how my benefit and Social Security will be paid out? Yes. Your retirement check will be paid out to us once you reach your eligibility. Your full Social Security check will also be paid out to you in its entirety because they have gotten rid of the WEP and GPO offsets the federal government has. So you now receive both of those without any offsets. So questions about Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid need to be sent to Social Security. I know currently right now, because of the government shutdown, they may have some issues. You may have to email them. They do have some people in the offices, but you can check with them. Hopefully soon we'll be through all of that. The offices will be back open and you can get your questions answered there. All right. Oh, there's another one. So someone asked a question about deferred retirement, which is a great question. If I quit my position at the end of this year and move to a different industry, and you're going to leave my 15 years of service credit with TRSL until I turn 60, do I need to inform TRSL of my move or leaving the system? No. The school that you're working for will send us a notice of termination. We will then later send you a letter in the mail reminding you, hey, you have funds with us. What do you want to do with them? You can write us back if you want, or you can ignore it. We just mark you in the system as inactive, so you are fine. And then when you reach your age retirement, you come back to us, contact us. We'll send you a new form to fill out to claim your retirement benefit. Is there a way to retire and maintain your health insurance? Yes, that is a question you will need to talk with your HR department about because they are the ones who are providing you with the insurance, not us, the TRSL system. So they're the ones who are going to walk you through that. Okay. If I buy back wait, don't go too fast. I can't. Sorry. Somebody jumped the page and now I can't read the question. If I buy back service time spent in the military, can that time be applied towards my retirement? Is it worth buying it back? So military time is a bit of an odd duck when it comes to us. You may buy up to 4 years of your unused military service that you're not going to be getting. In other words, so I have 20 years in the military before this. I can't use any of that time because I'm going to be receiving a retirement benefit. So you may purchase 4 years of military time, but it only will go into effect the 4 years. You can buy it today when you first start with TRSL, but it will only go into effect once you have 20 years of service in our system. And if you've purchased 4 years, then it will automatically, at 20 years, automatically jump to 24 years of service. But it can only be done then. For more information, I always recommend, if you will contact us, go to the Ask TRSL and say, I talked to a guy at a workshop and he wanted to talk about the military service, then they'll know who to send it to. So we can talk to you about that. I think this is going to be, are we on time? Yeah, this is going to be our last question for today. How, oh, and I'll do that. I'll do that one too. How do I update my beneficiaries? I don't see it on the website. So in order to update any beneficiaries, you have to fill out a form 3 that is available on the TRSL's website in the form section. We require you to send that one in the mail. We required a wet signature or ink signature. It can't be done online simply because we want to make sure that no one has stolen your identity in that and logged into your account and changed the beneficiary to themselves without that documentation. So it is a Form 3. It's available on our website, and you can send that to us. And then here is the last question that we will be getting to today. Do I have to appear at the TRS office in Baton Rouge? That's right, we are in Baton Rouge to complete the necessary paperwork for retirement when I turn 60. No, you do not. You can do it. You can apply through member access or just simply print out the forms that are available online, and you may mail them, you may email them, you may fax them if you can find a fax machine that works in this day and age. It is completely up to you on sending those in. Now, if you are going to be moving abroad, just so you know, we need you to make sure that you are giving us your correct mailing address, because some of our documents in the retirement process have to be mailed to you. So make sure we have an address that we can get you your estimate affidavit to complete the retirement process. With that, that is going to be our last question for today. We do appreciate all of you coming out to this workshop. Again, it will be recorded, or it has been recorded, and you will see it tomorrow on our website and on our YouTube page. You'll get an email. Thank you guys so much for coming out with us today. And we look forward to seeing you again in the near future, either on one of these webinars like this or out in the public when we are making live presentations. So for me and Jerry, who's been in the background working so hard for me, we say thank you so much and have a great day.